if you've been around these YouTube social media streets for a while, you know there is this reoccurring debate, if you will, about relaxed and natural hair. So I thought this would be the perfect time for me to give my insight as someone who has had a successful, healthy, favorable journey as a relaxed person and also as a natural person. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to Beauty and the Basics. I am Marche, and today we're going to get into some hair things. I am going to preface this by saying when I'm talking about natural, I'm talking about straight natural, okay? Because I've never been fully natural with the idea that I wore my curls, but I am fully natural with the perspective of not putting any chemicals on my hair at all. The number one pro I would say for being a natural or straight natural is the versatility. Whether you wear your hair curly majority of the time and you only get it straightened like once a year, or you're like me, that's a true straight natural and you straighten your hair regularly, because your hair is curly and can be straightened, or curly and big and can be tamed or blown out. You do have a lot more versatility in the number of styles you can do and the thickness that you need for styles without having to incorporate extra hair. Another pro is your hair is just stronger. That is a fact that's not debatable. Your hair is stronger simply because it's not being chemically processed, especially if you don't have any color, any other kind of chemical service done to your hair. Your hair is going to be 100% stronger. Your strands usually will be thicker and your hair will just look a lot fuller as opposed to if you were not a natural. Now, that's not to say that people with natural hair automatically have very thick, big, full hair. No, but typically your hair is at its strongest simply because it's not being reconstructed down in the bonds of your hair and the cuticles and the cortexes, and all of that is not happening. I also will say, as a natural or straight natural, the cost of maintenance is significantly lower. At this point, all I'm really investing my money in: quality shampoos, quality conditioners, quality leave-in, quality heat tools. All of those things you still have to invest in if you're relaxed. Your maintenance is just washing. Wash your hair and condition it, get your trims, all the normal things that you would do to maintain any head of hair for any person anywhere. Those things are universal, but there's not an extra service that you have to do to maintain natural hair. Along with that, the other pro to being natural is not having a line of demarcation. When you do chemical services, you typically will have a line of demarcation between your hair that's already processed versus your virgin new growth. That is with anything: relaxers, color, keratin treatment, all of those things. There will be a separation line between the hair that's already processed versus the hair that is not. So that is something to think about. But a line of demarcation is significant because that line between two textures is the weakest, so you can often have a lot more breakage at that area as opposed to if your hair was cohesive and did not have that weak spot. So those are the pros of being a natural. Those are all the things that I specifically like about being a natural / straight natural now, and I think it's very much worth it, and I've had a great experience with it. Now, the cons to being a natural or straight natural obviously is your hair is dependent upon your environment, especially if you have like high porosity hair. Oh my gosh, you probably hate being anywhere that is humid. I mean, most of us don't like being humid places because it's just muggy and nasty, but anywhere that has moisture, the beach, if you go in someone's house and there's too much moisture in the air, if you stay out late and there's too much moisture in the air, you get up early in the morning and there's too much moisture in the air, your hair can easily revert if it's not packed down with multiple products and serums and sprays that block humidity. And so that is a con, that you kind of are dependent with your hairstyles on what kind of weather conditions, which is not the best, not the greatest. You always are kind of at the mercy of your environment. Another con is it can be very overwhelming to get a system, especially if you're someone that is new to being natural. And when I say new, I don't mean like you used to be relaxed and now you're natural. Even if you're someone that like continually has braids in or continually wears weaves or wigs or extensions, or if you're someone that has always gone to the salon and now you're not going to the salon anymore, learning how to care for your hair can become overwhelming. One, because of the natural hair movement. There are a lot of scams and shams out there, okay? There are a lot of products that say they work and don't work. There are a lot of people promoting things that really don't work, that really don't help. Also, if you have very thick, very coarse, very kinky hair, even if it's just curly or kinky or high density hair, it can be very overwhelming. I remember getting very overwhelmed at one point. Like, I didn't even want to wash my hair. I would go the longest I could without washing my hair because I didn't want to deal with it. And then eventually I just had to really take it slow, take it wash day by wash day, try new things. And now I've gotten a good system. And system also not only includes products, but also includes tools and techniques. Those are very, very, very important. So when your hair is curly, it does take a little bit more effort, a little bit more trial and error, but you can find a good system. And once you do, you'll be very pleased. And another con, similar to what I said before, it's easy to get caught up in the hacks and the trends and the styles and the this and the that, especially with the natural hair movement. There are a lot of good practices that get hijacked or misconstrued and are delivered in negative ways that can then negatively affect your hair. So you just have to be very careful with, making DIY products, buying from unreputable brands, using products differently than the instructions say, because a lot of these products are chemically formulated to be used in a certain way. And sometimes if you use them in a different way, it can mess up the structure of your hair, even though you don't notice it. If you were to look at your hair under a microscope, you could see the structure of your hair breaking down or completely changing altogether. So that's another con. It's just so easy to get caught up in all the things, especially when you see people online who have long, beautiful, thick, curly hair and they tell you their routines. And you're like, oh, okay, if you try something once, is it going to kill you? Probably not. But trying things over and over and over again and using things over and over again can lead to you having to do a big chop at the end of the day. So it is a very delicate situation that you have to constantly be mindful of when you're taking advice from people that are not professionals. Now, switching over to the pros and cons of relaxed hair, let me tell you, most of my life I was a relaxed hair girl. I appreciated relaxed hair life. I loved, matter of fact, relaxed hair life. And my relaxed hair flourished. The longest my hair has ever been was in a relaxed state. Relaxers don't automatically damage your hair, so let's not get that misconstrued. Okay, you can have very long, beautiful hair with relaxers, but there are pros and cons to having relaxers. So starting with the pros, number one, easy wash day. Wash day is a breeze. Wash day is easy, simple. You doing the same thing, one and done. It's nothing, no problems. No problems, no headache, not even a whole lot of trial and error. The other one is very easy to style. You don't have to worry about a lot of gels and a lot of extra styling products for your hair when you're relaxed. You kind of just do what you want to do and go. Now, obviously, if you want certain types of styles, more blown out, bigger, thicker styles, you will have to manipulate your hair, add extra hair extensions, things of that nature. But if we're talking about just everyday styling, very easy. It's, wake up and go kind of hair, which also very much appreciated. And then, of course, one of the biggest pros of relaxed hair is it's climate resistant. Doesn't matter if you're at the beach. Doesn't matter if it's raining outside. It doesn't matter. As long as your new growth is not in, okay? As long as the relaxer hasn't grown out too much. You can be anywhere, anytime, any day. It doesn't matter. You can get in the pool. You can get it in the ocean. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. And your hair is pretty much going to stay the same. That is probably the one thing I miss the most about being relaxed is just the resistance to climate. especially with, doing some model projects and photo shoots. It's just so much easier when my hair was relaxed, I have to be honest. But the cons for relaxed hair, these are some of the reasons that I decided to go natural. So the first con is new growth maintenance. The new growth maintenance is just, it can be annoying because when those roots grow out, especially if you don't have a more wavy or loose curl texture, if you have a very curly or kinky texture, when your roots go out, you're going to feel like I look like a nut. Like I look crazy. That's when you start using all these extra products just to lay your roots down. The inside of your head is puffy and then the ends are straight and you just look crazy. And especially if you were like me, I was not a 6 to 8 week relaxer type of girl. Most damaging regimen or timetable you could be on. So I usually got my relaxers every 12 to 14, somewhere between 10 to 14 or 12 to 14 weeks is how long I would go between my relaxers. So I was getting about 4, maybe 5 relaxers within the year. And that grow out period after a couple months, like that last month, it just would get very frustrating. Again, there's a line of demarcation now between your relaxed hair and your natural hair, so you have a easy breaking point, and it was very annoying, specifically because my hair is more curly. If I had a looser texture, I probably wouldn't have had that problem, but because my hair is the way that it is, I just could not stand the grow out process. Of course, going along with that is you have to go to the salon and get your maintenance relaxer touch-ups. And relaxers, if you want to get them professionally done, they cost money, okay? And you have to get them. Like you are stuck in that way. Now you can do touch-ups yourself. You can go and buy your relaxer at the store and do it yourself. Try that. Wasn't for me, especially if you're doing it on yourself. It's very hard to see that line where your new growth stops and your relaxer starts, especially if you were like me and relaxed your hair and straightened it. It was very difficult to see that line of demarcation. So having to go to the salon, it costs money to go to the salon. Like I said before, it costs money to go to the salon. That's probably one of the more expensive services that you can get at a traditional salon is a relaxer. Having to spend that extra money every couple months was just not what I want to do anymore. You also have the risk of getting burns if you do it yourself or if you go to someone that does not pay attention or doesn't know what they're doing. I've never had a relaxer burn. I always went to the same hairstylist. She was licensed. She took care of me very well. I've been going to her for years and years, probably over 10 years now. But I have heard of other people that went to actual salons, went to licensed hairstylists, and got chemical burns from relaxers. It just goes to show, like, there are potential risks when you are introducing a foreign chemical into your hair regimen, and a burn is a possibility if someone doesn't know what they're doing. Also, at least my hair, which I find with most people, your hair is much less thick. So with a relaxer, you are breaking down the bonds in your hair. You are restructuring your hair. You're not necessarily damaging your hair, but your hair is a lot weaker if you have relaxer versus if you are, natural. Because your hair is weaker, your bonds are reconstructed basically. Your hair will look thinner. A big reason why I switched from relaxer to natural is because my cousin, who has always been natural all her life, when she would get her hair straightened, it just looked so much fuller and beautiful. It was just so like luscious looking, and I loved it. And when I would get a relaxer and get my hair done, it would look nice. It looked sleek and clean and beautiful, and I loved it. But it was never thick. Like, it just never had that thick look to it that I wanted. It looked thin, not sparse, not unhealthy. But I personally noticed the difference between when I was getting my relaxed hair done versus when she was getting her natural hair done. And now that I have natural hair and I straighten it, my hair is thicker. My straight hair still looks thicker now than it did when I straightened my hair as a relaxed hair person. And the last con with having relaxed hair is there's no reversion. But with natural, you can revert back to your curls. You wet it and your curls will come back as long as you're using heat correctly and responsibly, right? Or products correctly and responsibly. But there is no reversion with relaxed hair. Once it's straight, it's straight. It's done. Like, it's over. If you want curls, if you want thickness, if you want to try some other things, you're going to have to cut that hair off. For some people, they don't care. Hair grows back. They like a short style, pixie style, switch it up, yada, yada, yada. I was not that girl, okay? I liked my hair long. There is no second option. There is no back and forth when you are relaxed. You have to stay relaxed. You have to continue to maintenance. You have to continue going to the salon and spending the money, because if you don't, you will have a line of demarcation. You will probably have a very hard time styling, detangling. Wash day will probably be horrible. Like, it just will not be what you want, and it will be very tedious, and it will be a task and a chore to do your hair. So that's a wrap on today's episode of Beauty in the Basics. If you're someone that is contemplating natural, straight, natural, relaxed hair, or you've always been interested in the topic and you've heard about it 1,000 times and wanted a new take, I hope that you heard something in this video that helps you to make a decision or helps you to be a little bit more knowledgeable about your own beauty routine. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe, and also send it to a friend if you think they benefit from this conversation as well.